Director Jordan's going to hit the quick six show horn. Right, Director Jordan? And we're going to go from there. Please and thank you. Yeah, I'm calling up the YouTube, and for whatever reason, the show's not there. But looks like it might be now. Way to go, boys. Okay, number one, Serena's boyfriend, Alejandro Kirk, had 3 hits and 3 RBIs as the Toronto Blue Jays beat the Washington Nationals 7-0 on Wednesday. Santiago Espinal had 2 hits and 2 RBIs, and Ernie Clement had 2 hits and drove in a run as the Blue Jays took 2 of 3 from the Nats, denying Washington a 6th straight series victory. Starter Chris Bassett allowed 3 hits in 8 innings. Now, we have on the poster that you're the hockey analyst, and you are. That's your number one. But you love some Blue Jays. You love some Alejandro Kirk. But I'm kind of, hey, all you people across Canada and, for that matter, America, too, that love baseball, now's the time to get your questions and comments out because she can answer them far better than I. If you don't watch every Blue Jays game, you certainly follow every Blue Jays game. So where are you on the Bluebirds right now?
It's up in the air. I don't know. Everybody keeps, obviously, the talk in Canada is always, are the Blue Jays going to make the playoffs, going to make the wild card, whatever it happens to be. And obviously, they have a realistic chance. They're heading into Colorado, which is one of the worst teams in the league. Hopefully, we can get some wins in Colorado and really gain some ground on that wild card.
Well, it's funny. Did you just drop a "we" with regards to the Blue Jays?
Yes.
Well, as you know, one thing that people love about the show, it's very clearly different than all the other shows. Would you mind just telling the story here, just to prove your Blue Jays fandom? The letter that you wrote to the general manager of the baseball team in the early 1990s?
Well, when the Blue Jays traded Fred, I was a huge Fred McGriff fan, huge Fred McGriff and Tony Fernandez. And when they traded those guys and got Joe Carter and Robbie Alomar, Roberto Alomar turned into my favorite all-time Blue Jay. But I was very upset. And Pat Gillick was the general manager at the time. And I wrote him a letter at the age of 12 or whatever, expressing my displeasure that I really did not feel that trade was in the best interest of the Blue Jays or their fans. And I ended up getting a letter back that actually was typed out, but Pat Gillick signed it, and they sent me a team photo that was signed. Can you imagine? He probably hung that on his wall. Like,
was that a team photo with the crime dog in it or with Robbie and Joe in it?
It was with Robbie and Joe in it. Yeah. I don't know where it is
So he
now.
appeased you?
He did. And at the time, I was like, okay, this is a really good thing for him to do from a fan standpoint. I was not expecting that. But when you're a little kid, you're taught how to address an envelope. You put your return address on it. And somebody got it in probably some kid's handwriting and was like, what in the world is this?
Hey, Pat, we need to respond to this one.
Yeah.
And by the way, the trade worked out okay, wouldn't you say? 2 World Series later?
I can't complain, but it still kind of hits hard, that one.
Okay.
It was tough.
Just pointing out her Blue Jays fandom. Point 2. It's the dawn of a new era at UCF with the young football program jumping from the American Athletic Conference into the Big 12, the journey that included the Knights calling themselves national champions following a 2018 Peach Bowl win over Auburn to complete an unbeaten season, culminated with the Knights getting that seat at the Power 5 table this year. Starting that era with a win feels like a must after all the bravado, and it starts tonight. UCF Knights up in Orlando are home tonight to Kent State. That's one of 11 college football games tonight. Later on, Florida's at Utah. That's on ESPN. So it brings up our poll question today. What's your favorite brand of football this time of year? Our poll question is brought to you by Key Auto Group. As you all know, with the Key Auto Group, most vehicles receive a lifetime engine warranty guarantee. Go to keyautogroup.ca/the Key Advantage. For eligibility and maintenance requirements, the Key Auto Group here to take care of you. The options are NFL, CFL, college/university, or high school. It's in a way a bit of a trick question. I voted for the CFL. It's in my DNA, but I'm not going to speak for you. I'm quite interested, Serena, what your answer would be.
I'm pretty sure you know what my answer is.
College.
Absolutely.
And explain why. Explain why, please.
College football is just so natural. And after I lived in Southern California, but living in Florida, talking about UCF, people in Canada have no idea how big of a school that is. A lot of kids from the entire state go to UCF because it's pretty centralized. And there's so many big football programs in this state, it would blow your mind. Not only does Florida have 3 professional teams, all the college teams is just next level, and everybody has their loyalties here. That's just the state of Florida. The whole country goes wild over college football.
Absolutely next level. So I voted CFL, and it's running away. It's like 50% of the poll is CFL, then the rest are split. We talk about college. Just today, I got my parking pass from FAU. I've got my media pass. I need to buy a camera, a good one, between now and Saturday because I'm going to be a photographer. They're like, you can pick up your vest an hour before game time and be down on the sideline. I'm going to be that guy.
Can't wait.
So I'm very that's why I was looking at used cameras last night. They're expensive, you know. So number one, they say we're alive, so we're on. Thank you, Ryan in New York. Jeff the Stamps fan says, great shirt, Rod. It ain't bad. This is one of those Sunday swagger deals.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I picked it.
Merry Christmas from Serena Dawn. Carlos in Indianapolis says it's hard to vote because I like them all in similar but different ways. It ain't that the truth. That's why it's a trick question. If you're really a football fan, you love them all. And you get it from a hockey standpoint. We do never, ever sit and compare the NHL, the CHL, college hockey, junior A. We don't do it. The American Hockey League, I don't understand why that's a football
We don't,
thing.
but we could. You know what I would pick? There's no way NHL would be at the bottom of my list. I just don't
For
enjoy
political
the NHL.
reasons.
I just don't enjoy it, though, as much. I'll watch the Oilers, obviously, but it's not my favorite league for a lot of reasons.
Well, and by the way, when you asked if you were going to come back on next hour, and I think you will, here's why. Clark sent the 3 rule changes that are going to be in junior hockey this year, major junior. You and I haven't talked about these, so I'll prepare you for them. And Clark, that's double IHF too, right? Aren't they bringing it here? Oh, well, okay, then, yeah, he's saying it's only in Europe, not the CHL. I thought it said Champions Hockey League. Well, for the love of God.
Well, we'll still chat
about
about
Can we make that clear? We'll still talk about them, and I think that they should be brought over here. Oh, all of a sudden we're in it. We're in one. Like, for instance, a minor penalty, Serena. You score a goal, that penalty's over. Not anymore in the Champions League. You have to serve the full 2 minutes no matter how many goals are scored.
I don't mind that. We do it for a 5-minute penalty.
Exactly. These aren't crazy.
Not terrible. No.
They're not crazy. And they say that we've made these changes and they are not going to compromise the integrity of the game. That's one of 3. Okay. So anyways, trying to get back on point here. Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, writes in. He says, is there anything better than the CFL from September to November? I guess that's right. We had the commissioner of the league on the other day, and I said, I hate that phrase. It's the unofficial kickoff to the CFL season, Labor Day weekend, because I'm like, really? What the hell have I been doing since May? And all these guys that I've been following around all summer. That really chaps my ass.
Here's a news flash, though.
What?
People outside of...
Sorry.
Apparently, we're already dinging the bell here.
Mm-hmm.
People outside of Saskatchewan really don't care that much about the CFL. Like, it's really not a big deal. Like, I don't even pay attention to it unless I'm in Canada because I just don't have access to it. I don't go out of my way to follow it. Just like when I was in Canada and we were watching these games, I'm like, that was the score? Like, how is this even entertaining?
Right. Well, if it wasn't for me, you wouldn't follow it at all. Probably. Not now.
Yeah.
Ish. Okay, so the real reason I wanted her on today is this. Point 3. Akeem Alou says he's disappointed that the Western Hockey League's Lethbridge Hurricanes have named Bill Peters their new head coach. It's the first coaching job in North America for Peters since November 2019 when he resigned from the Flames after revelations surfaced of his anti-black racial abuse of Alou when they were both with the American Hockey League's Rockford Ice Hogs in 2009-10. Alou says the WHL and the Hurricanes didn't speak with him about hiring Peters. So there's that. People talk about this being a delicate situation. I don't feel that it's that delicate. We went for a long walk yesterday. You expressed your thoughts, and I'm hoping that you'll express them here. Mine hasn't changed from yesterday where I said the guy's guilty of some bad things. I believe he deserves a second chance. He's a tremendous hockey coach. Akeem Alou needs to get counseling and support and realize that this guy isn't going to pay for that for the rest of his life. But that's enough about me. What do you think about
Are we
this?
getting into that right now?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why I brought it up.
Well, just like I said yesterday, there's a big difference between using a bad word and like I'm not condoning any type of racism or anything. You should absolutely get more than a slap on the wrist. He should have been terminated when that happened. However, some of the things that other players or coaches or whatever, people in general do that are actually against the law. That's not against the law. If you do something that's against the law, you shouldn't be hired back. Physical assault is against the law or whatever it happens to be, but it's because it's more of a severe situation. The outcome is more severe. That's why there's no law against saying words like that, that's not my kind of a person. Like, you're a grown man. Grow up. You can't say that kind of stuff. You're not cool because you do it. Like, that might have been funny 100 years ago, but like, this is 2023. Come on, guy. You have to pay the price. But he paid the price and now it's a wash. If somebody physically assaults somebody or sexually assaults or whatever, and they get fined for it or they go to jail or whatever, when somebody murders somebody and they do their time, I'm not saying they should ever get out, but when they do, the law calls it a wash. You still have a criminal record, but you get out because you served your time. He served his time.
Yeah, and that sentence has been 4 years out of the National Hockey League. And as somebody wrote to me, he wasn't out of hockey, he was in the KHL. I said, same thing. If you're not in the NHL, to NHL people, you're not really in hockey. So he served a 4-year sentence. And the thing is, he's a gruff hockey coach. End of story. I don't remember if I've ever had a conversation with him. I might have interviewed him 20 years ago. I just never really got a good feeling off him. Like Mike Babcock's another story, and they call Bill Peters a disciple of Mike. Mike has been tremendous to me going back to 1993. I know Mike real well. I wouldn't stand up or not for Bill Peters because I barely know the guy. But I would suggest, because the Hurricanes hired him and the WHL okayed it, they kind of agree with what you're saying. How long should the guy have to pay for these sins? You need to be shown the error of your ways. And I guess the question is, how does he prove that he's changed?
Sure, but you don't see guys coming out of the woodwork looking for attention because Mike Babcock got hired again. So what?
Well, yeah. See,
Like,
and yeah.
He paid the price. He did whatever. Again, I don't condone that type of behavior. I really don't. You can emotionally and mentally abuse somebody, absolutely. But chill out, Alou. Like, seriously, if you don't like it, just keep your mouth shut. Like, he already lost his job because of that. Like, get over yourself.
And the point is, the bullying, not cool, also not illegal. We're not going to spend a ton of time on this, but you mentioned about people not coming out of the woodwork on Babcock. Some have, like Mike Commodore, obviously. And my cousin played for him and DM'd me on Twitter and said, you better be careful who you're backing because Babcock's this, and this. I'm like, he's been great to me. Do we want to call out all the narcissists and bullies in my life that people don't have a problem with? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a business.
It's a business. So that's our take on that. By the way, we do have when we come back, we're going to talk a lot of Toronto things, including the extension of Sheldon Keefe, their head coach, and also today's breaking news. And I dropped my bell or I'd ring it. Point 4, the Toronto Argonauts and starting quarterback Chad Kelly have agreed to a 3-year contract extension. Kelly leads the CFL with 6 rushing touchdowns and has thrown for 16 TDs in his first year as Toronto's quarterback. The Argos enter their Labor Day clash with Hamilton on Monday with an 8-1 record and top spot in the East. A football guy who's probably watching this show right now told me here in the States with regards to Chad Kelly, he's NFL talent, but he got a bad rap early on the kind of person that he was. And he said, once you get a bad rap, it's really hard to shake. Chad Kelly's proving that a lot of teams proved him wrong. Now with his 3-year, he's proving a lot of teams wrong with his 3-year extension. I would hope there's an out clause to be able to go to the NFL. And I'm sure there is. Nathan Rourke exercised that with the BC Lions, and look where he is now. So we're actually just getting rolling. This is the warm-up, and we're live on the Game Plus television network, WQEE Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
The mic's hot, and so is South Florida. Woo, doggy. But we're enjoying it, talking sports today, and why wouldn't we be talking hockey? We're across all 10 Canadian provinces and 31 U.S. states, including, I don't know if Montana is or not. I had somebody write me yesterday and say, are you on in Montana? I don't know. I'm not a TV guy. But we're always on YouTube. And by the way, you talk about the heat. The reason we didn't set up the second camera here was when Darren was here. And do you remember what month that was? Roughly?
Yeah. I don't even know what month we're in right now.
Okay.
I think it must have been May or June Darren was here.
April or May, I would have said his.
When was your 1,000th show?
Well, that's when it was, but I don't know when.
Okay, I think
he hid the second camera melted. Remember that?
Yeah.
So, hey, I know nobody feels sorry for us. So just before we pick up the journey here, some comments from our viewers regarding the poll question today. I don't really like pitting one league against another, but in the case of Key Auto Group today, I will. What's your favorite brand of football this time of year? NFL, CFL, college, or high school? Wayne in Victoria, BC says, I do enjoy watching college football, but if not, if there's a CFL or NFL game on at the same time, Jeff, the Stamps fan, said college football on a Saturday afternoon is awesome.
Yeah, agreed.
It's very nicely set up, especially in America. Friday high school, Saturday college, Sunday NFL. See what they did there?
But Saturday always starts with college game day. Doesn't get any better. Is there a better pregame?
Which they're opening in Charlotte, by the way. Tori, who you met in Charlotte when you were there.
Yeah.
They're going to be there for college game day Saturday.
Ooh.
Tori said he'd wave at us. Look for him, Tori Gurley. Regarding Bill Peters, Ryan in New York State's watching. He says, I wonder if they asked Peters if he learned his lesson from the incident and if he's genuinely remorseful. If they did and he said yes, then it would have played a part in their decision-making. Ryan, you know better than that, and I also know what you do for a living. Not only did they, hey, did you learn your lesson? But they put him through a rigorous course, training, interviews. Hey, they had to have, Serena, as you know, this locked down.
There's not a man his age in hockey that's going to learn his lesson. He's going to play the game, and then when his time is done, he's done. He's never going to believe what he did was wrong. That's my feeling, which is fine. People are allowed to believe what they're going to believe, but there's no way he's reformed. Come on.
At 58, the odds are against it. As a guy that works in the mental health recovery business, the younger you are, the easier it is to change, and I don't want to get into all of that. But if he wants to change, he will. I don't know him well enough to say whether he wants to or not. Ted in Red Deer writes in, he says, I agree 100% with Rod. Why can't you enjoy all types of hockey, but in football, you either have to pick one? I know, right? But I've moved on from that. Jake in Calgary, Jake Hughes from the Hughes Sports Podcast says the CFL needs a proper pre-week show like college does. Jay in Winnipeg says, can I just like football? No, you can't. You got to pick one.
People here don't. They like all kinds of football in Florida.
Oh, exactly. Jen from the Four Seasons writes in, and she says, good morning, everyone. Dan in Saskatoon says, no more Big and Rich on the college game day theme song after 16 years of singing it. Major controversy amongst college game day fans. I'll say it one last time, and then we will move on. If your biggest problem is you're upset that Big and Rich isn't singing the college football pregame show song, you should consider yourself really lucky.
People get upset about that stuff, though. They do. I mean, they do.
Oh, and the Jason Aldean thing.
Oh, we're not going there. Sports
Again,
show.
You're lucky. It's the biggest problem in your life. Point 5, head coach Sheldon Keefe has signed a 2-year contract extension with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, this came down yesterday, but the team and the GM and the coach addressed it yesterday. The 42-year-old Keefe was named Leafs head coach on November 20th, 2019, taking over after Mike Babcock was fired following a 9-10-4 start to the season. Keefe, in his career in Toronto since, get this, 166 wins. 71 losses and 30 OT losses. I mean, clearly, I'm not good at math. We established that earlier this week. 166 wins, 71 losses, 30 OT losses. I saw on Twitter, Clark was saying, if I can paraphrase for what producer Clark put on Twitter, he was like, well, they can still fire Keefe down the line, so why not give him an extension? And I believe Clark knows hockey, and I know Clark is the biggest Leafs fan that I know. I'm sure there might be bigger Leafs fans, but he's the biggest one that I know. And somebody responded to Clark and said, why? This doesn't make sense. Well, I read the story on it, and without even having to read it, do you not think, Serena, if you're Brad Treliving, you came in as the new GM, you talked to the coaches, you talked to all the players, you don't want a head coach going into a lame duck situation with only 1 year left on his deal because it's a distraction, particularly in Toronto. That's the first thing I thought. He wanted to give Sheldon Keefe security. He probably didn't know the guy. So let's talk. And what's your philosophy on hockey and this team? And I guess in the interview, Keefe goes, put it on me why we lost in the playoffs in Florida in round 2. Put everything on himself. And Brad was like, good enough for me. New 2-year deal.
I don't see a problem. Why wouldn't they sign him?
Yeah.
Now, I also believe that posting a 166 and 71 record doesn't mean squat if you don't win in the playoffs. He could be 66 and 171, and they're still doing the same thing in the playoffs, right? But he's trending in the right direction. That's the bottom line. So when you look at it from an overall standpoint as a general manager, do you want a guy with a great winning percentage? It just happens. Not everybody's going to win. Hockey's not like it used to be in the playoffs. Random teams are winning random playoff series, and the best team isn't always winning. So, yeah, that's a deal I would make every day of the week.
That's a really interesting point, and obviously my mind just went down 6 different roads, how unpredictable it is, because you've lived in the States for almost 20 years. Just this morning, I was listening to Dan Patrick driving home from the gym where the coach was our real ball buster today, I'm telling you. I was recuperating, and Dan Patrick said that college football is the most predictable league and sport in America, yet nobody seems to care. Dan's like, we all know who's going to be in the Final Four. We all know who's going to win every Saturday. Team is winning 42-0, and nobody seems to care. It's the most predictable. Thoughts on that?
Well, because there's such a discrepancy in the teams. You only have your powerhouse teams, and then you have the rest. There's kind of those middle-of-the-road teams, like Tennessee is always going to be in the middle of the road or whatever, right? But there's such a discrepancy between the teams. There's so many teams you're going to have that. If you look at the National Hockey League, they're also playing a best-of-7 series in the playoffs, so anything can happen. It's not a one-game winner-take-all situation. He's right, though. He's absolutely right. It's very predictable unless there's some random upset.
So we're through 5 topics. Blue Jays, college football kickoff, Bill Peters returning, Sheldon Keefe, Chad Kelly, both signing extensions in Toronto. What a great week in Toronto. And point 6 is random weekend sports that everybody else can bring up if they want. The text line's open, 902-518-3033. At EMJ Marketing, they provide the right keynote speaker for your event. Contact Joe at emjmarketing.com today. And we want to welcome all those new viewers, close to 2 million homes, they tell me, in Western Canada, watching on Shaw and Rogers Channel 230. They're just introducing themselves to you, Serena. You're doing a great job.
Thanks, Rod.
902-518-3033. So just to go back and revisit this, and then I will delve into all the comments, why we love the leagues for different reasons. I love the CFL because it's in my DNA. It's the first league. You understand how this all ties together. Your thoughts, the way you are, is all formed when you're a child. You wonder why I love the NHL so much and the CFL. It's what we watched growing up. You get it. You're the same in whatever order that it is, right? So the CFL just in my DNA, and I worked in it for 20 years. And I cheer for my friends that are, that makes sense, right? The coaches, Cody Fajardo, Jones, so forth. The NFL, you can't live here and not get swallowed up. You're not even an NFL fan, you probably get swallowed up in it.
Oh, absolutely. It's by far the biggest league.
It's just a thing to do.
Yeah.
It's just a thing. The guy working out in the class, they had a Dolphin shirt on, if you notice.
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
College, just like junior hockey. The unpredictability of it, as I often say, the players are the same age roughly as junior hockey players, and up until recently, they weren't getting paid. It's not perfect. And the other thing is the NFL is a copycat league. College football is not. I get really ensconced in all the formations, the personnel groupings. Every game's different. College football is like snowflakes. There's no two are the same. And that's exciting. And then with high school, you have yet to meet Matt DeBuck, by the way. So welcome Matt's out if you want to, pardon the pun, if you want to come down to Fort Lauderdale Friday night, because there's so much stuff to do. They're home for their second game of the season Friday night at Bud Tite Field. And incidentally, the FAU Owls hockey team is home. Pretty sure the FAU Owls hockey team is not getting a lot of pub in the media cycle down here right now.
Until you were here last year, I didn't even know they had a team.
They had a team, yeah. But high school, because of the coach, and he's my friend's personal connection. But what's your reason for why you like or don't like NFL leagues? And then we could flip it to hockey if we wanted to.
You mean the NFL itself?
No. NFL, college, CFL, high school, if you follow it at all. Why do you like certain leagues better than others?
Well, when players are playing for, what's on the front of their jersey compared to what's on the back, it's always more entertaining. And college, everybody's trying to make a name. Everybody's working really, really hard. And I'm not saying they're not in the NFL. NFL players work very hard. No question. There's just something a little bit more pure about college football and even high school football in that essence that I just like to watch more.
You saw I just got excited. I apologize. Serena will come back in hour 2 for the topics we didn't finish. But John in Edmonton writes in and says, Serena, not a lot of tickets are available for today's Oilers single game ticket pre-sale or general sale. Thoughts? Almost every Oilers game is sold out for the year. I did my predictions yesterday for the Pacific Division, and I have the Oilers won.
Oh, God. Anytime you pick, you're raw.
Who cares where they finish? Even the coach, Jay Woodcock, doesn't care where they finish.
Exactly. If you ask a Leafs fan, where are you guys going to finish? I don't know. We just got to win some playoff games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm not surprised the Oiler games are sold. I mean, they all are.
Well, she's pretty good at thinking on her feet. So, more predictions for the Pacific Division, if you don't mind.
Oh, man.
Is that too much of a... Well, you know the teams of it. Okay, who's number 1?
You know I hate making predictions. I hate it.
Nobody's going to remember.
They will. But it's just because I don't. I mean, naturally, I have to go with Edmonton. Truthfully, though, I feel like the Oilers are the strongest.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com. Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
All right. Welcome back to the RP Show, everybody. Sorry about that little technical hiccup. These things happen. EMJ Marketing text line is open. I just want to read a couple from the audience. Ryan in Saskatoon says, great start to the show today. Really like the deep thoughts. A controversial topic. This is why the RP Show is the best sports show. Not worried about rocking the boat. And Rose in Edmonton says, holy, Akeem Alou thinks the hiring of Peter should have gone through him? You're right. He needs counseling. That is a fact. Everybody does in this situation. I don't know if Mike Richards does, though. Let's bring him in. What's going on, Rob? Mike Richards? Do you need counseling, my friend?
Do I need counseling? I think, is that rhetorical? I think people would say, yeah, he talks to himself for 30 years, like in different voices. Yes, whoever gets this account retires.
How about that?
Right. Hey, here's the irony. Everybody needs it. Anyways, let me jump into the poll question first. I want your take on this for Key Auto Group. What's your favorite brand of football this time of year? NFL, CFL, college, or high school?
Well, that's tough. That's tough for me because that's a buffet at the Mandarin because I like it all, including high school football, which I dearly miss that I coached for all those years in Calgary. Boy, well, the best part of the CFL is coming up now, and they are playing their best football, thank God, in many places, including Edmonton, which I was holding my breath because that was really, really very scary. But Trey Ford, boy, Jarris Jackson, they've got it going on. So I would say historically, the favorite part of football at this time of year as we get to Labor Day is the CFL. It is for me. But that's being real kind of picky because I'm a huge college football guy. There's a couple of games I'll be watching and gambling on tonight. And then, of course, you got the NFL, which for the most part is severely overblown, almost ruins the game itself. But it's been that way for years. But I am thrilled that NFL and, of course, high school football, you will never meet like a greater group of people in the coaches that spend that time with those kids shaping lives. Now, I know people want to say, yeah, it's all about the macho football stuff. Well, then you've never coached before because I'll be honest, those that dedicate their time, and there's a lot of them, it takes a lot of coaches, even in high school, to run a football team. It's more about molding people and young men to become men. It's to be, to put a blueprint to be a successful person beyond football, because what's the percentage of those guys even playing, U sport? It would be very, very small. So it's really about trying to make a better person and make a boy into a man and give him some tools to move forward in life. So there is nothing like high school football, and a great high school football coach to me. They're teachers. They're saints, these guys, and I miss it dearly.
Yeah. Well, as I say, it's a trick question because they're all great.
Tough.
Now, Mike, as you know, audience participation is always fun. Kirk is watching in Toronto on Game Plus, and he says Chad Kelly is playing and putting up numbers. 3-year extension today for Chad Kelly with the Argos, but he says Nathan Rourke will be holding a clipboard for now and may never be a starter in the NFL. Oh, it's the CFL for me, for what's his favorite league. Your thoughts on Nathan Rourke, except practice roster deal, rather than coming back to the CFL?
Well, I'm a huge fan of Nathan and have been since he was at Ohio. So this is, it's almost like a personal question for me because there are certain things that happened in his career that I may not have agreed with, including the ability for the Toronto Argos to easily take him as their number one pick, which they never do, and they should have done. It would have been better for them. Now, Chad Kelly's worked out. I'm not going to, this is hindsight, right? So it's very easy, but I think in the moves that he has made, I've seen no fault in his decisions. What people have to realize is that the NFL is the most political of professional sports that I can think of. And look, they're all political. There's politics in all of them. But in order to make a roster, I know people say, well, it's because of his passport. It's because of, he was in the CIA. It has, by the way, folks, it has nothing to do with that. I mean, zero. I do feel bad because in his quest to become an NFL player, he was easily the second best quarterback on that team. I mean, forget about Trevor Lawrence. That's not a conversation. We're not talking about that. We're talking about if it's just things being pie in the sky and blue sky and airy-fairy, then that would have been a very easy choice. Even the eye test, if you're a football person, Nathan Rourke was the better of the two players and was always going to be that. He's a better athlete than CJ. But that's not how it works. Trevor wants him as his backup. That's kind of why that money was spent on CJ before the season started. So in some ways, the leap that Nathan is making is that he is going to be seen as someone that at some point is capable of taking downs in the NFL, maybe not as a starter right away because the league is what it is, but it's also short on quarterbacks. He is better than a lot of quarterbacks who will be taking snaps this year, but that doesn't mean he gets invited through the front door. He has to be invited through the back door. This is what he has done. And I agree with it because it's the only way he's getting in. He went to the University of Ohio. He's a Bobcat. He's not a Sooner. He's not Roll Tide. He's not a Clemson Tiger. He had to figure out a way somehow to go from where he was to where he can be. He's still not there. The journey is still going on, but his decision to go, even at some point holding a clipboard, it is the chance that he had to take. He knew it. It's disappointing, I know, for a lot of people who cheer for him, but we got to be realistic on how you have to get into that league. And what he has done is the only way. It may not – look, I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not Kreskin. I don't know, and I can't say that, with another team he's going to get a chance. But the odds of that happening are at least there. And if you know Nathan Rourke, you just got to give him an inch to get through that door. He only needs it. You saw it against Dallas. You saw it in the preseason. You saw it against Detroit. The guy had a percentage of 108, even though QB rating isn't the end-all and be-all for me. It really isn't. It's the eye test on, does a guy have the poise? Can he have poise in the pocket? Can he read a defense? And then can he make a play when it breaks down? The answer on all three levels in the preseason was yes. He has given him a chance somewhere, some point, at some time to get a snap. That's all you can ask for. I really believe in my heart of hearts that we will not see him in a CFL uniform again.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But the one thing, it's been fun watching people's debate on what he should do and what he shouldn't. But I often say, don't assume what somebody else is thinking. Let the man make his own decisions. Because Weston Dressler had a Hall of Fame career in the Canadian Football League, but Mikey played in 2 preseason games for the Kansas City Chiefs. Guess what? In Bismarck, North Dakota, what do you think means more? He was with the Chiefs for 2 weeks and got a tracksuit. Not playing in the CFL for 12 years. It's just the way that it is. And that's, that's the way that it is. Hey, I'm sorry, we got to rattle some quick thoughts here. Sheldon Keefe and his extension. Go.
It is the only choice. There really wasn't another choice. They weren't searching now. They're not looking for an interim. Even if you would say, well, no, that technically wouldn't be an interim. Yes, it would be. Coaching is hard in this league. It's hard to find guys. And with the group that he has, they have clearly made a decision. No matter what they do or no matter what the result is, the band is staying together. That is clear. Even with Brad Treliving, with the way they've gone about Austin Matthews and all the contracts where the players call the shots on this team. I don't see that and quite frankly, in other leagues or teams that are consistently successful. You're telling me the blueprint is, yeah, we let the guys do the contracts. We let them tell them what they want. Nobody does that's successful. Okay, so that's number one. So this is not a surprise. I don't think they had a lot of options. It's not that I don't think Keefe is a good hire or a good pick. My problem is always the same with this team. What is it that you're doing this year that you didn't do last year that tells me you're going to not only win more games, you're going to win the games that count, and it's worth hardware at the end of the season? If you can tell me the Leafs did that, whether it's better moves and Domi and Pertuzzi and some of this stuff, yeah, that's all great stuff. But what have they done that tells me that they're that much better than they were last year? And for 6 or 7 years, it's been exactly the same. So I don't expect a whole lot different. It's just who they are. It's how they do their business, which is why they will not win.
Man, damn, you're good. I mean it. Is there anything specifically in 60 seconds or less that would make you say that the players call the shots on that team?
That would change my mind from that being the truth?
No. What makes you say that? What makes you say that the players call the shots on that team?
Because regardless of it being Dubas or Brad Treliving, who I like, and look, in reality, they're both smart hockey people. I mean, there have been some duds in this league, and a lot of them who have been in Toronto or make these moves that are terrible. But I still think when you cripple your team by term and by contract like they did, I like John Tavares as a person, I really do. But that's crushing. And no one's going to help the Leafs to get out of that one. So you have then put an anvil or an anchor on your ability to maneuver that team, and now you're beholden to these guys with these huge numbers. Other teams, let's compare it to the years of even the New England Patriots. Who had the upper hand on that team? Even Tom Brady didn't. And Tom Brady's the GOAT.
Yeah.
Tom Brady's the GOAT. And yet, if the organization and the hoodie decided that, we're not going with you this year, it wouldn't matter if they were a Pro Bowler or a future Hall of Famer. You're out, because the blueprint, again, back to that word, the puzzle, the infrastructure is what makes you win. That's what makes you win, not the guy, not, as they say, the name on the back of the jersey. In Toronto, it is the name on the back of the jersey. We never, in the GTA, no one talks about Toronto and really talks about hockey. No one really talks that much X and O's. It's contractual. It's money. It is always money. In the Florida Panthers, what do you think for the locals that like the Florida Panthers, for those that do want to talk about Florida Panthers, would they really be talking about the run they made last year and talking about contracts? Because I don't believe that to be true. I don't believe that to be true when you follow a team and you like them so much. I don't think contract is the first part of that conversation.
They can't name 5 Florida Panthers.
Yeah.
Here. That's a topic for another time.
I want to throw something before you go, because I know you're in Atlanta radio. I know you're in Atlanta. My go-to filling my wheelbarrow full of money, the Atlanta Braves. I take 4 or 5 player props on the Atlanta Braves every single night and go home and cash every single night.
How about that? Hey.
How about that?
Thanks, Mike. Okay, have a good one.
Take care, brother.
Appreciate it.
You too.
Sports update coming up. And from that radio station, WQEE, Richard Holdridge is going to be with us live in hour 2, talking some college football and everything else. We're also live on Game Plus Television, podcast, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
I'm Bridget Lacroix. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Back for a quick one here on the old RP show, and that includes a sports beginning on Tuesday. Or is it tomorrow? It'll be brought to you by Common Crown Brewing. Yeah, I guess it's starting in September. Common Crown Brewing in Calgary. Give them a follow, give them a try. Common Crown, welcome aboard the RP Show family. The text line's open, 902-518-3033. Gosh knows we've got enough to on the burner today. Toronto Blue Jays are off today before starting the final month of the season on the road at Colorado. The Jays went 14-13 in August, but slipped in the American League wildcard race. Toronto will enter September 2.5 games behind Texas for the third and final wildcard spot. The Yankees look to wrap up a 4-game road sweep when they take on the Tigers this afternoon in Detroit. The Yanks' domination of the Tigers has likely come too late to salvage their season. This is the Yankees' first series win since late June. Pair of NL division leaders meet in L.A. tonight as the Dodgers take on the Braves. Both clubs have impressive division leads heading into the last month of the season. The Dodgers have won 4 in a row and lead the NL West by 14.5, while the Braves lead the entire league, and they have a 13-game lead atop the NL East. The LPGA Tour's Portland Classic gets underway today in Oregon. Matty Zurich of London, Ontario, is among the golfers hitting the links in the early waves. 2-time tournament champion Brooke Henderson of Smith Falls, Ontario, will tee off later. The RP Show Sports Updates brought to you by Landmark Cinemas, in theaters now. Strays, starring Will Ferrell and Jamie Foxx. And today is your last day to enter for our weekly prize package from our friends at Landmark Cinemas. Enter to win a movie night out at Landmark Cinemas for movie lovers only. All you have to do is text movies and the movie you'd like to see the most to 902-518-3033 to be entered. Winners are picked every Friday to enjoy a movie night out this weekend. Last minute of play in hour 1. Producer Clark tells me I will tell you that coming up in hour 2, we're going to be joined by Richard Holdridge, as I mentioned, from Georgia Sports Radio, WQEE, your southern home of sports and talk. We're going to talk some college and whatever else comes up, probably some Braves, baseball. It is that time of year. What else do we have? Yeah, Serena's going to come back and either pour gas on the fire that she started or maybe extinguish it. We'll see. Get those texts rolling, everybody. You know you're all watching on Game Plus, 902-518-3033, or the Georgia listeners, 902-518-3033. It's for EMJ Marketing. They provide the right keynote speaker for your event. Contact Joe at emjmarketing.com today. We'll be back right after this brief pause on Game Plus, Key Radio, podcast, and YouTube Live.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Oleg in Winnipeg writes in, says, Rod is fighting so hard. My awesome comments. One day I'll win him over for one. Well, at least you're now speaking in first person. The fact that you've been writing in third person for several years, I refuse to read your comments in third person. So that's why, Oleg, if you spoke like a normal person, I'd read your comment. How about that?
How about that? This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. It's hour 2 of the RP show, and we're going to get to our hour 2 guests right away. I'm smiling because this has just been a fantastic show. And don't bring him on yet, guys, but I will tell our guest, Richard Holdridge from the Sports Beat, WQEE Radio in Atlanta, that Just this week, last Friday, we began airing on Shaw, Rogers, Channel 230. That's up to 2 million more homes all across Western Canada. And the reason I bring that up, not just to brag, but also my advisor is saying, Rod, you need to reintroduce yourself. There's a lot of people that don't know about you. They see the sports talk guy, but they don't understand. 8.5 years sober here, a guy who's been through a lot of issues in my life. 8.5 years sober, as mentioned, but now licensed mental health recovery coach and addiction recovery in the state of Florida, the country of Canada, interventionist, grief, trauma, stress management. So James in Borden, Manitoba writes in and says, I love that you let your guests say what everyone else is thinking, good or bad. You can come on here and say whatever the hell you want. But we were talking about Akeem Alou, the black player, former NHLer who basically came forward with Bill Peters, who's now the head coach of the Lethbridge Hurricanes, and he's upset the WHL and the Lethbridge Hurricanes didn't consult him with them hiring Bill Peters. Akeem needs counseling. Bill Peters has had it, and it doesn't sound to me like Akeem's even taken the first step in healing in his life or what Bill Peters did to him. And just to give you an example, what I do when I'm not sitting here, because I don't think a lot of people know, I sat across the table from a man in his 40s who had spent more time in jail than free and had sexually assaulted multiple women. Huge, huge man. Like, I'm 6'3", and I was tiny compared to him. And I said, why did you do that to these women? He goes, because people did that to me when I was a toddler and an infant. And I said, okay. You know that's not right, right? You know that's not a proper excuse. He goes, I know that now. Guy's free on the street. Will he do it again? Will he not? I don't know. I'm not comparing Bill Peters to that guy. But what I'm saying is I know the ins and outs and dealing with victims, dealing with abusers. I get it all. And I wonder how many people do that are shooting their mouth off these days about the Bill Peters situation. Anyways, thank you. Richard Holdridge is my kind of guy. He gets all this stuff. Sportscaster from, Columbus, Georgia. He's on WQE. Rich, welcome to the RP show again. Dude, I was on the edge of my seat the last time you were with us. You were just getting to me to the point of why college football is number one where you live, and then bink, our line got cut. We got knocked off the air. So how are you in the time since, dude? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Ron, I'm just glad to be back on your show. I mean, tomorrow is September. I mean, we are getting ready for college football. You know, it's a kind of a big deal down here in the South, you know, in Columbus, Georgia. We're just excited. College football, the NFL in 2 weeks. I mean, I'm a part of high school football. I'm part of a live streaming service called Georgia Alabama Sports Live. Myself and Thrip Behringer, another radio personality in Columbus with DJ Jones, who also was a member of the 1980 national championship team for the Georgia Bulldogs. And we've been live streaming high school football games. And, you know, I was able to call Harris County, Russell County. We had Carver, Spencer. I mean, we're going to be at Harris County this Friday again with Shaw in Harris County. A lot of people in Columbus that know all the high schools. We want to try to give love to all the high schools because I love high school football, and I try to keep my show as local as possible. But we also have college football coming up on the scene. You know, we got Thursday night college football. We got a big one tonight, Rod. We got the Florida and Utah
on ESPN. But UCF home tonight to Kent State, their first game in the Power 5. So, whoa, there's the buffet. People don't understand. I try to tell them, Rich. Last year at this time, I kind of dipped my toe into the water of college football, and it was like an undertow, a riptide. Whoop! But they'll pull you in, right? There's no slowing down. And so the poll question today, I want your take on this one. You would be the perfect guy to ask. It's for Key Auto Group. At the Key Auto Group, you can buy with confidence knowing that they provide reports on all vehicles they sell. Get fully informed about your next vehicle by going to keyautogroup.ca. What's your favorite brand of football this time of year? NFL, CFL, college, or high school? Could you pick one, Richard?
Oh, it is hard to pick one. I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, a 49ers fan. I was spoiled. 5 Super Bowl championships when I was a kid. First 25 years of my life, they won 5 Super Bowls. But the last So of my life, I'm 44 years old. Since 1999, the 49ers have had 6 playoff appearances, but 6 championship appearances at least, and 2 Super Bowl appearances. I love the 49ers. I'm a huge 49ers fan. They got a tough one against the Steelers on Sunday, but they got Nick Bosa back. I would have to say, living in Columbus, where you go to these small towns and they love college football. Your average sports fan will talk about the Georgia Bulldogs, Auburn, Alabama. There's not a whole lot of Atlanta Falcons fans, and I like both. And I want to support the Falcons too. I think that they're going to bounce back season. But yeah, down here in the South, it's college football. But if I said that I have a favorite, it's hard to pick. But I would have to say the NFL, and that's really going to not sit well with my colleagues here in the South that live, breathe, and eat college football. And it's like, oh, all of a sudden you're giving all this love for college football, but you're an NFL fan. But it is hard because in the South, we got to cover it all. And plus, with high school football on Friday nights, I mean, I try to cover as much as I can on my podcast because I want to try to give everybody some love.
Richard, the Canadians watching, you're good, man. And I only bring on the best on this show, by the way.
What's that?
Truth. I said I only bring on the best broadcasters and best people, so you made the cut. You deserve it.
Well, I will.
But the thing is,
CFL.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, Rod, I know that your audience loves the CFL. I mean, I'll watch the CFL too. I know the Toronto Argonauts and the Edmonton Elks now. It used to be the Eskimos. I mean, Elks now. And, I know your fan base loves the CFL. I want to try to give them some love too. It's just great that we have football year round. But, yeah, the CFL is a good product.
Yeah, well, what I was getting to was that the Canadians don't understand how big football is down here. Wally Buono, the winningest coach in Canadian Football League history, said that Americans love football 10 times more than Canadians love hockey. And I won't ask you to get into any of that. I just want to pass along what Wally said. Now, where you're at in Columbus, Georgia, my good friend, Ken Austin, we won a Grey Cup together in Saskatchewan in 2007, is now the offensive coordinator at Auburn. Did you say that Auburn is one of the 3 main schools you folks follow in your area? Am I right on that?
I think it's the number 1 school. It's only 45 minutes from Columbus. Even though we're in Columbus, Georgia, the main focus should be Georgia, but we cover Auburn because it is in the market of the Tri-City area, Columbus, Phoenix City, the Chattahoochee Valley, which we call Opelika, Auburn. And so Auburn's playing UMass this week. I think they got an easy schedule until they play Texas A&M and then Georgia, but Peyton Thorne is the starting quarterback and Hugh Freeze. I'm excited to see what this Hugh Freeze offense is going to look like because he's got some recruits. I think Auburn is going to be a lot better next year. I'm guessing they're probably going to go 7-5, maybe 8-4, but yeah, there's a lot of Auburn Tigers fans here in Columbus.
Speaking of people that got second chances, Hugh Freeze, what was the take when he was brought into that program and brought Ken Austin with him from Liberty?
Well, Rod, I think that the Auburn fan base was so fed up with Brian Harsin and the way it ended that they would either have 2 train of thoughts. They'd be okay with giving it to the interim coach, Cadillac Williams, because I think that he fired them up, and they were very competitive when Cadillac took over as the interim coach. But they wanted a big splash. You look at Gus Malzahn and Gene Chizik. They took Auburn to at least the national championship in their first season, and they wanted a big splash. They wanted a coach that can go toe-to-toe with Nick Saban because Hugh Freeze can coach. He coached up Ole Miss to 2 wins in 2015 against Nick Saban. They just wanted a big splash. They still wanted to get Cadillac Williams on the staff because I think he's a great recruiter. He's a leader of men. And so you have that angle that gives the Auburn fan base some hope.
Tell me a little bit about your show, Richard. The Beat is what we're talking about right now. Just, I've listened to it, but I'm asking a question I want everybody else to know. This is kind of what it's all about from 2 to 3 Eastern on WQEE. Am I right?
Yeah, don't we have a great sports lineup on WQEE starting with your show at noon? And I'm on right after you. From 12 to 2, you can listen to Rod Pedersen, and then I'm on from 2 to 3, and then right after me is Braves Country Today with Mac McGee and the Armchair Quarterbacks. I've had you on my show, Rod, and I'm just excited to really be followed by just a legend. I mean, I've heard a lot of great things about you. You got a great show. I'm a big fan of your show, listen to it a lot, and really, I just keep up the good work. We're really trying to grind here because we love talking about sports, and that's really what it's all about. This is something I've always wanted to do when I was a kid. You know, I did the whole broadcasting major when I was in college, and I love doing play-by-play for sports and really having those hot sports takes and talking about sports on a local sports talk radio station. And, you know, I've been doing my show for about 3 years, and I'm about to approach my 700th episode next week. I'm excited about that.
How about that? Yeah. Hey, by the way, Ryan O'Neal has written in. I think you know him, the host of the Morning Penitentiary with Ryan on radio. He says, Sports Beat and RP show, crossover. He's written into our YouTube comments here right now. So way to go, Ryan. We love you, brother. He is the best. We're so, I'm like you, I'm very grateful to be on this wonderful radio station. And, hey, just so you know, or you mentioned Braves Country in the late afternoon. What is the take on the Braves? Because I said this the other day. They should have more World Series in, let's say, the last decade than they do. Am I right or wrong on that?
You are right, Rod. They are the best team in baseball right now. I remember watching the Braves throughout the 90s, and they have the one World Series. But they did go to the World Series in 91, 92, should have went in 93. When they got Greg Maddux in 93, I thought it was over. I thought the Braves were just going to continue dominating. It wasn't that they were a good team. It's just that they were taking on teams of destiny. That 96 Yankees team was special, even though the Braves were heavy favorites. I mean, Jim Leyrich, John Wetland gets the MVP because he's got 4 saves. And then in 1999, when the Braves took on the Yankees, that was a dynasty that the Yankees were able to win another World Series. And I think it was just bad luck in the 90s because the Braves were heavy favorites every year. That 97 Marlins team was a magical team. The 98 Padres team with Kevin Brown, he was unstoppable in 98. I do believe the Braves should have had more World Series titles, but I think what they got going on right now, not only are they going to win multiple World Series with this group of players because they're locked up for the next couple of years. They've got young pitchers, Spencer Strider, Max Fried. I think they're going to be hard to stop in the playoffs. I know the Dodgers are right now the number 2 seed. I don't know. I think I see a collision course, another NLCS between the Braves and the Dodgers. The Braves need to continue winning because home field advantage is at stake. And right now, the Dodgers have a very good team, and they're on their heels.
Well, we have a little preview tonight, right, in Los Angeles between the Dodgers and the Braves. And I asked you the last time you were on, this is what I do remember. What's your number one sport? You said baseball, and you just proved it again. Brian in Edmonton writes in, he says, awesome guest. I know, I'm just passing it along. We only bring the best on here. L. Short writes in and says, the Rough Riders should go after Nathan Rourke. He signed with the Jaguars practice roster yesterday. Thanks for playing. Jordan in Calgary writes in, he says, I can't wait for NFL football. Well, what do we got? A little over a week. We'll end it on this. Super Bowl prediction, Richard? What do you got?
Super Bowl prediction, the 49ers and the Chiefs. It's going to be a rematch of the Super Bowl 20. Again, I know we get to have that again. There's no stopping Patrick Mahomes. It doesn't matter if Tyreek Hill's on the Dolphins. The 49ers, if Brock Purdy is a top 5 quarterback, the 49ers are going to the Super Bowl because their team is actually loaded. I think the window is going to close for the 49ers. This is the year because Kyle Juszczyk may retire. They're going to have to pay Brandon Ayuk. And, they just wrapped up Nick Bosa. I mean, the one thing I worry about with the 49ers is that offensive line on the right side with Colton McKivitz. He's replacing their Mike McClinchy, who's now with the Broncos. Their linebacker core is a little weak. They only have Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw. I would like to see more depth on the linebacker position. But I think that the NFC is slightly down. I don't think the Eagles are going to be as good as they were last year because they have the tough schedule. I think that Dallas has gone down just a little bit. I know that a lot of Cowboys fans are just going to absolutely rip me. But look, they lost Dalton Schultz. They lost Kellen Moore as their OC. Who knows? Maybe Trey Lance becomes a superstar quarterback. And you know, even though I don't think that that was a bad trade by the 49ers because they found their quarterback in Brock Purdy.
I don't expect big things from the Dallas Cowboys, and I'm a Cowboys fan. I'm teetering on switching my allegiances to the Miami Dolphins because I live here. Rich, we got to go. The audience loved you. We'll hear from you coming up at 2 p.m. here on The Key. Thanks, brother. Stay close.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show again.
Richard Holdridge from the Sports Beat on this very radio station, 99.1 FM WQEE, or as they say down there, WWQEE. We'll be back with Serena after this, also on Game Plus TV, podcast, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
2 million liters of power creates electricity. Electricity creates.
Casino. Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact The Rod Pedersen Show today.
Welcome back to the RP Show, everybody. It is hour 2 of episode number 1072 of your favorite daytime sports talk show. Serena Taylor joins us back here. And as you learned in hour 1, hockey isn't just her thing. She's not just a one-trick pony. She can talk some baseball, too. There is news on this Thursday that we'll get out of the way before we move on. Chad Kelly signing a contract extension with the Toronto Argonauts today. He is the CFL's leading passer, former NFLer, nephew of Jim Kelly, the Bills great. I appreciate Nelson, our VP of Sim Events, writes it. He says, official figures on the Chad Kelly deal, $1.865 million over the next 3 seasons, $615,000 and up from there incrementally. He is now the highest paid player in the Canadian Football League. We'll be talking about this far, far, far more Friday, tomorrow, with Jim Barker. And Stevie Baggs will be joining us as well. Hall of Famer. Camper 27 of Winnipeg writes in. He says, 9 games into the season, the Argos are paying top dollar for their quarterback. Downward slide begins next year. Why, you got to pee on the parade. Jeff in Winnipeg says, it's Christmas weekend for me. NCAA football time. Go, Georgia Bulldogs. Going after a three-peat down there in Georgia, Athens, Georgia. Okay. We talked about college football. Other than to say your team is LSU, do you want to explain why you like the Tigers?
Super random, actually. When I was in high school and I didn't have class during the day, I love watching college baseball. And for whatever reason, it was LSU always has a strong baseball program. And so I started watching all the LSU games. And that's how I became an LSU fan. Obviously, it translates into football as well. But it just was one of those things I just kind of stumbled into. It makes zero sense.
Might make a nice road trip. One of my closest friends is a Hall of Famer there, Ron Este, with the LSU Tigers. So, yeah, cool place. Okay, reason I wanted to bring this up with you. Last hour, Mike Richards was on with us. And this translates to all of sports, even with Chad Kelly and what he signed today. Mike Richards, I wrote down the quote. The players call the shots on this team. He was referring to the Toronto Maple Leafs. And Austin Matthews now making his $13.25 million per season. And Clark, what's Mitch Marner at? 11.5, is he not? 10.9. Okay, so 11 mil, let's say. That's $24 million between two players, roughly accounting for 25% of your salary cap. And that's not to say that it's wrong, but he's basically saying you can put whoever you want in there to coach that team because coach ain't running the team. That's the way I read it. And I wondered how you feel about that. And I asked him, why would you say that? And he said, well, look at Belichick. Tom Brady wasn't even the highest paid player on the Patriots. It was about team, not superstars. What do you think?
I don't disagree with him. He's probably right. Does that have any, in the Leafs situation, I'm not really sure it has anything to do with the coach. I hear what he's saying, but I've always believed that Marner's overpaid. And I personally think Matthews is overpaid now. That's just me. But that's not the coach's fault or really the player's fault that they're getting that much money. Who wouldn't take that much money? So, but it's apples and oranges. When you have a guy like Bill Belichick who was around for how many years, that's a different story. If you come into a team or you go into a job as the boss and there's already people in place, it's a lot harder than when things start to rotate. So the longer Belichick was there, the more he had control over guys. Which Sheldon Keefe is going to tell those guys what to do? Come on, he's like not even a full generation older than them.
Yeah.
It's just different. It's just different. If he was around for another 20 years, like you look at guys back, like that would have probably never happened when Harold Ballard was around. Think what you will of him, but that guy was around for 100 years.
Yeah, and they also never won anything. You know, like I don't want to name, and by the way, the Leafs may still not win anything. That's kind of what Mike Richards is saying is team first wins. And now my mind's racing thinking about championships in all sports, even in Vegas with the Golden Knights. which I'm going to flip gears in a second. I just want your opinion on what Mike Richards said. You said the Oilers are the best team, what, in the division or the conference over there in the West?
Division.
Okay, well, that's where I had him picked to finish first. How are you on this? And by the way, we're going to be recording our Cats and Bolts podcast coming up in the next couple weeks, where we will be covering the Tampa Bay Lightning and the Florida Panthers. What about those that say the Panthers are going to be too busy recovering from the long run? I have them picked second in the Atlantic Division floor. Toronto 1, Florida 2. And they say, no, they're too beat up. Like Tkachuk was majorly hurt in the Stanley Cup final, right? He had a sternum injury and various maladies. It's a long season, Serena. 82 games. Like, Tampa was a repeat Stanley Cup champion, so it didn't affect them. Will it affect Vegas, do you think?
No.
I don't think
No,
so
Vegas has the team in place to make that happen. The difference between Vegas and Florida was night and day, people. If Florida's banged up, they're already putting excuses into place because Florida...
They're not saying it, by the way.
No, whoever they happens to be. But what I'm saying is they're already setting that tone because let's be honest, Florida's not as good of a team as they're standing as where they got to last year. They're just not. So they're already trying to get ahead of it by going, well, guys are hurt. Guys, dude, it's August. We talking about guys are hurt. You think Vegas didn't play any less games, and you don't hear them running around crying. It's never the winners that are crying, it's the losers. It's true.
Yeah, well, and again, it's not the Panthers saying it. It just fans have said that. When I came out with my predictions the other day, people said, there's no way they'll be that high. Well, yet nobody said that about Vegas being second, and they went just as far.
Florida's not as good of a team. Like Florida's not going to end up second. I don't think so. But Vegas is just, after watching those teams, and when we both got to watch them play live, I mean, Vegas is. It's like watching a AAA team play a bunch of 12-year-olds. It literally was that difference in the crispness of the passes, paying attention to where the play is going. I mean, like my dad said, Florida was like a bunch of coyotes running around. They had no game plan whatsoever.
Well, newsflash, which won't be a surprise to anybody. I have a very tough time separating my heart from my head, particularly when it comes to sports. So I often say, don't follow me for betting. Why do you think my predictions are way off? If it was up to me, Cody Fajardo would win the Grey Cup every year. And it would be Fajardo versus Chris Jones in the Grey Cup every year. So I have to make predictions. You hate them because why? You hate doing them because why? You hate to be wrong?
No, not at all. When have I cared what other people think?
That's what I'm saying.
It's just, I don't know. It's so hard to say because I'm of the firm belief that you should never, ever, ever get cocky and think something's going to happen because it never happens like that.
Yeah, well, it's one thing for the coaches and players to think. It's another for us in the media to talk about it. Dawn, our Navy friend in Ottawa, which might explain why our number 2 city for viewership is Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, the national capital of Canada. Don says, would a shorter NHL season and playoff lead to better play and longer careers? I'd be more interested in that versus Survivor hockey.
It's not really a lot longer than it used to be. Even when there were only 6 or 12 teams in the league, they were still playing 60-plus games.
72, even in the 80s.
Yeah,
and
like...
Four-round series, 4 best-of-7 series.
Yeah, it's really not. I think you got to look at it like this. If you really want to break it down, players are a lot more in tune with their bodies now. They have a lot more people. Like, look at Tom Brady. He has his own trainers, his own nutritionists, all that. When you fuel your body differently than Phil Esposito did, I mean, come on. There's a reason guys are alive. It was more rough and tough back then. Guys are soft now. Before, they were getting banged around without helmets on, and they still survived. You know, it's just how they fuel their bodies so much better now. They should be able to maintain that level.
Well, I hope people enjoy the debate because what we see is very rarely what is actually going on. Like, for instance, you talk about the injuries. Shea Weber has never played since that Stanley Cup run for Montreal. And what did we learn? He had 18 screws put in his shoulders and knees and stuff. Like, Shea Weber, he ain't soft.
No, of course not.
Right?
Him and guys, Carey Price too. You know, they knew this was their chance. Any guy would have done the same thing. 100%.
Oh, yeah, it was not necessarily saying it was heroic, but that's just Shea Weber. And then with Carey Price, I think he came back. Correct me if I'm wrong. You Habs fans watching in Eastern Canada will tell me if I am wrong. Or even Bob Merrier if he's watching. I think he played 1 game at the end of the next season.
Yeah, like he's been back. But,
but what Carey was battling was not only physical, as we learned, major emotional toll, and clearly not from just that run, but from 15 years as the starting goalie of the Montreal Canadiens. You think that might play havoc with your noggin?
Yeah, it has to.
Living in Montreal and being a starting... I heard that he never left his apartment, and that wouldn't shock me. That's also not normal.
I would like to never leave. That's just me. Yeah.
You'd be happy. Jeff in Winnipeg says, Stone Cold Serena Taylor, telling it like it is. The best. Don't let it go to your head. Jeff the Stamps fan.
There's not enough room for my head to get bigger at this table.
Jeff the Stamps fan says, exactly, Serena. That is a good lesson in all of life. What is?
Everything I said.
I was going to say, I wasn't listening. You'll have to be more specific. Jay in Winnipeg says the Bombers are lunching on bacon, lettuce, and Fajardo sandwiches the next 2 weeks. Al, you realize he doesn't play for Sask anymore, right?
They don't care. They just want Winnipeg to lose.
Yeah, he's a Bomber fan. He's a Bomber fan.
Oh, I thought he was a Riders fan.
The Bombers are lunching on bacon, lettuce, and Fajardo sandwiches the next 2 weeks. He plays for Montreal now. Winnipeg's playing Sask the next 2 weeks.
Oh, I see what he's saying.
Please
Okay, yeah.
Jay. Jeff the Stamps fan says not being cocky and thinking you know how things will go. Jeff actually wrote in when asked. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. That would be the don't count your chickens before they're hatched type mentality. And by the way, since you're here, we'll save the Florida and Tampa NHL for our podcast that will be starting up next month. And it's just going to be fantastic. But Mike Richards said to me, do they get as wrapped up in the Florida Panthers contract situation as they do here in Toronto with the Leafs?
And my reply at the break was, in the years I've been in Florida, 6, I have never heard one fan say to another, I really hope they sign so-and-so because his contract is coming up. They don't have any idea. And that's okay. That's all right. It's just that kind of talk does not happen here at all. When I was back in Canada, it was like I was on another planet. It's Oilers. It's
Flames in Calgary, where you were.
Yeah. It's CFL. It's whatever. It's just completely different. But everybody's so tuned in with their team. They know what's going on. People are not hockey fans up there. They're more than that. They know what's happening. It's just not the same here at all.
No, however, that's not their fault. I said this about the Blue Jays. Like, if they miss the playoffs, I won't miss a second sleep. I won't. I follow them, and if they're winning, I'll watch every game. But I don't get up every day and check the scores like you do. It's like our guy Thad, the Panthers fan. He goes, down here, if the Panthers lose in the playoffs, oh, well, we'll go party on South Beach all weekend. It's the same. It's just the way they're into what they're into, but it ain't the NHL.
It was crazy because we were talking about we were talking about how many fans they're probably going to have in the rink this year in Florida. And I said to Rod, they jacked up those prices. They jacked them up this year. Well, the people that were paying whatever they were paying last year aren't going to pay double to go to a regular season game here. They weren't even filling the rink last year as it was. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here. The Stanley Cup final, I was perplexed. I'm like, let me get this straight. You couldn't fill the rink in a regular season game when tickets were $45 and now they're $750 and the place is packed. Like, how do people that aren't fans have that money to spend? I don't understand it.
There's a lot of people with money here, as we've discovered. And the tickets got up to $1,200. Last one on the Florida Panthers. I will say this. I sat beside Jeff Chickburn in the broadcast booth, or the press box, Game 3. And he just looked around the arena, and Chick, great guy. He goes, this place is pretty awesome when she's rocking and full. 19.5.
Well, so is every rink in the Stanley Cup final. Yeah.
Why do you have to be like that?
Because I'm honest and I'm real.
All he was saying is it's a great rink when it's full.
Again, every rink is great when it's full and they're in the final.
Answer your questions when we come back, including a sports update in overtime. We're live on Game Plus, The Key, podcast, and YouTube Live.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You are looking in to the RP show here in South Florida. Thanks for everyone for tuning in, texting in the break, putting up with Serena's comments. 902-518-3033 is the number to reach us here. And our text line is brought to you by EMJ Marketing. They provide the right keynote speaker for your event. Contact Joe at emjmarketing.com. We are live across Western Canada now. We've always been on Telus, so we appreciate them for that. Channel 924, Alberta and BC. But now Rogers Shaw, Channel 230. So a lot of new viewers all getting introduced to the Golden Girl today. I feel like that should be the next poll question. Should we stay with that? Because you're not really a fan of it.
It's terrible.
Yet everybody's a fan of it. So And you're not supposed to like your nickname.
We are out on the lanai.
We're on the line A here in Florida, the screened-in patio. Bill Dalby is watching in Brantford on Game Plus. Thank you, Bill. I was think of you often. He writes in and says, Brendan Shanahan runs the Toronto Maple Leafs. Signed, Bill in Brantford.
I like Bill from Brantford. He sends us very good messages.
Bill's a hockey guy. He gets it. By the way, here's an old one from August 8th, the last time you were on. I would like to see Serena on Hockey Night in Canada with her own segment. It would fill the coach's corner void.
We know.
Yeah.
But thank you, Bill.
Want her number? Not you, Bill. Hockey Night in Canada.
Bill's got his phone out.
That's what you did say to Kelly Rudy when you posed for
that I should be on Hockey Night in Canada?
With him, yeah.
Yeah. He didn't disagree, actually.
I didn't disagree.
No.
What did Bill Lindsay say down here? Which, by the way, I was going to send Bill the link to today's show, and I should have. He's up there in Montana visiting Junie, his dad. He would enjoy this show. But over lunch at the beach house, he goes, you should get back into broadcasting. And in my mind, I thought, she is.
But Bill, yeah. Bill's fantastic.
The greatest.
He is probably the greatest. So Bill's dad, Junie, is 94, I think. And Junie comes and visits, and he came down to the beach house, and we were doing the show there. And gets a little handsy, but he's good. No, I'm just kidding.
Huggy.
Yeah. No, he's a good one. He's a good one. It wasn't quite this hot, though, as you guys probably can see. Like, I'm going to go have a cup of hot coffee to cool down.
Yeah.
Whew.
So Bill said that to Serena, he was quite impressed with her appearance on the show and said you should get back into it. So whatever that means, we'll see. But we can't wait for Bill to get back to South Florida and go visit them. Twisted Mike writes in from Regina. He says, well, the Bomber fans are pretty cocky. Regarding your don't get cocky comment. He goes, I love the Riders to stick it in their faces. Would love to see Caleros go down on Sunday. Bombers aren't as good as they used to be. Anything could happen. It's Labor Day. I've been to Labor Day games where the Riders were in last place and the Bombers were in first and the Riders kicked their ass. Twisted Mike.
Spoken like a true Rider fan.
Yep.
Hope he goes down.
He's also a Detroit Red Wings fan.
Okay.
Interesting. I was reading the game notes, and I'll be delving into them far more before tomorrow's Football Friday. Jim Barker and Stevie Baggs will be with us. But it's quite interesting that Zach Caleros has never, ever lost a Labor Day game. Never. And he's played with 3 different teams. What is it? Sask, Winnipeg, Hamilton. He's never lost a Labor Day game. That's a pretty cool stat. And he's a cool guy. But in the time we have left with you, you are a Saskatchewan gal. Do you have a Labor Day Classic memory? Did you go to any Labor Day
yeah, several. I think probably my favorite, this is going to sound really random, but my favorite memory from a Labor Day Classic, I was sitting behind the Bombers bench, and Todd Creddenbrink was playing for Winnipeg.
Indian head boy?
Yeah. Wolseley. He's from Wolseley. So I knew Todd growing up, and he was playing for Winnipeg. And it was so cool because he pulled out his handheld camcorder and was recording the fans at Taylor Field. Because growing up in Saskatchewan, that's a big deal. And I thought, how cool of him to do that. I remember seeing him do it to this day. I thought that was really neat.
Now the fans would think, what is he doing with a camcorder down on the bench? But I'll tell you a wild story. Owen Nolan. I was doing an event with him. He did the exact same thing at the end of the gold medal game 2002 Olympics.
Yeah.
To the degree that he hadn't played a lot in the last 10 minutes for whatever reason, and he wasn't complaining. But when they knew that they were going to win with the last 2 minutes to go, he whipped out his camcorder, started filming, and Pat Quinn kicked him in the back and said, get out there. He goes, I can't. I'm filming.
You're there to enjoy it, right? I love when people soak that stuff up. I'm not a Rider fan, but I've been there, and just the crowd and being in the excitement and all that kind of stuff. It's just electric. It's like, come down here, guys, sometime and go to a Dolphins game.
Ooh.
just the people walking into the stadium. It's like tens of thousands just walking down the street to get into the stadium because you generally have to park like a mile from the stadium. The electricity is next level. It's so cool because there's usually a lot of fans from the other opposing team because it's so transient down here.
I felt bad for the people that came to the Christmas Day game last year. The Dolphins were playing Green Bay, and it was terrible weather. I remember I was watching it on TV. It was like cold. You don't come to Miami expecting to be cold.
That was the coldest Christmas here in ages. I remember that morning being like, when is it going to warm up? It's freezing here. And I think the Dolphins lost that day as well. Yeah.
Well, Adrian Trelevin from Milestone, Saskatchewan came down. You might remember the message. He said, Rod, are you going to be at the Dolphins game on Christmas Day? I'm coming. I said, no, you sadist. It's Christmas Day. Not to mention your birthday. But did watch it on television. I'm glad I'm not there.
Oh, I would have never sat in that cold.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Well, but the reason I bring that up is the Bills were here third week of September last year. I think it was the home opener for the Dolphins. Maybe their second home game. But Bills fans were passing out on the concourse. It was so hot.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's the best. Maybe October or November.
You can't find a happy medium here. It's always hot. But the thing with Hard Rock is everything's covered except for the field. So the seats are all covered. So if it rains, it only rains on the field. But clearly we're not in the direct sun and we are drenched.
Yeah.
Like Rod is actually sitting on ice packs that I went and got from the freezer. Yeah, I mean, it's so hot. You guys can't even imagine. So sitting out at a football game at Hard Rock, there's a little bit of time in the sun. What's up?
No, it's just so much fun.
Oh, now the Saskatchewan people are like, it's not cold.
Well, but it's funny. Hang on. So number one, Craig from the Hockey Hall of Fame writes down, and Craig writes in, Craig, I noticed you guys didn't come down to the Amerigold Hockey Tournament, the Latin America Hockey Tournament, which Argentina won, by the way. They don't just know soccer, they know hockey. Craig says lots of new viewers being joined by older and original viewers. Great show. Thank you, Craig. We'll get to these comments from Rider fans in a second. They're all riled up. But Leanne says, define cold. I'll let you take a stab.
I think Christmas Day this year in the morning, it was like 40 degrees. So imagine.
Celsius, please.
+4.
Freezing.
Imagine when we go from 75, 80 degrees, like it's typically 25 here, 20 to 25 Celsius in the winter.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, so imagine the shock. Like, I lived in Saskatchewan for 27 years. Don't think I don't know. In the middle of August, when you get a +4 day, everybody's bitching. It's cold.
It's put the damn doors on your Jeep cold. Wear some socks in your sandals for the love of God.
It's cold.
Very unpleasant.
But that was unseasonably cold. It's not cold like that typically here.
We'll be back with Overtime right after this for OT Hockey Lanes. We're live on Game Plus, WQEE podcast, and YouTube Live.
The sports landscape continues to change, and teams and facilities are under more pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. They need the right team to deliver their product. Look no further than IKS Live. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience across all platforms.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Okay, this is it. Overtime, proudly brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, where skill and fun collide. 28th Street Northeast. Like I say, an amusement park for hockey players. Check them out today. Guys, gals, this is when you should be shooting. Now, don't wait until the season starts. They can help you out with that, too. Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, 28th Street Northeast. I will dip in and out of the comments as we go here. You understand that come tomorrow, we'll be full on college football, week one for most teams, CFL Labor Day Classic weekend, all of that. There's a lot of hockey here today. Leanne says, when you're telling the world you're the loudest fans in Winnipeg, you're not. Rider fans are the loudest because other teams' fans say so. Well, we did get out the decibel rating that one year, and Winnipeg won it. I refuse to acknowledge the results of the decibel reading, but I can tell you today, Winnipeg won. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says McMahon is only expecting a high of 14 degrees and showers for the Labor Day Classic. That is cold after a hot summer. But let me guess, Jeff, you like that. Oh, boy. Monty in Saskatoon. Rod is working in the hot sun. Hi, Serena. You're looking good. Monty, zip it.
How about that?
Allie in Texas says, I don't even want to think about the cold. It gets under 60 Fahrenheit, and I am not a happy camper. Moving on from the weather. Again, a lot of football tomorrow on a Football Friday. That's why we named it as such. Sports update. Toronto FC romped to their first win in 13 games as new manager John Herdman was in attendance on Wednesday night. TFC beat the Philadelphia Union 3-1 for their first win since May 27th. Toronto sits last in Major League Soccer's Eastern Conference, and John Herdman will officially take over in October. CF Montreal fell 2-0 to New York City FC. Montreal hosting the Columbus Crew in Quebec on Saturday. Does that mean in Quebec City? Or obviously it would be in Quebec? Other games, because I'm a big soccer guy now. FC Cincinnati beat Atlanta United 2-1. Sorry about your luck, Ryan O'Radio. Charlotte FC tied Orlando City SC 1-1. Kind of digging that Charlotte FC if I wasn't into Inter Miami. We went by the stadium. They play in the same stadium as the Carolina Panthers. And it looked like so darn much fun. Inter Miami played last night, and they tied Nashville 0-0. I'll just leave that there. Messi didn't score. And I'm kind of surprised that I didn't see a lot of people clad around here in pink and black, because they did when they signed Messi, and I saw like one guy on a home game day. This is something that everybody is talking about on the U.S. sports networks today. The University of Nebraska laid claim to the world record for the largest attendance at a women's sporting event, with 92,003 people filling Memorial Stadium for the Cornhuskers volleyball match against Omaha. The university took aim at the record last spring when it announced it would hold a day-long celebration of a sport that enjoys immense popularity in the state of fewer than 2 million people. How about that?
How about that?
Sports Update is for Landmark Cinemas. In theaters now, Gran Turismo. It's based on the unbelievable true story of a team of unlikely underdogs, a struggling working-class driver, a failed former race car driver, and an idealistic motorsport executive. Together, they risk it all to take on the most elite sport in the world. Gran Turismo in Landmark Cinemas. Now go check them out. Last check of the EMJ Marketing text line, 902-518-3033. Oh, yeah, tons here. Greg in Winnipeg writes that he says, Fajardo may not play for the Riders anymore, but the Bombers still dominate him. Can you stop, guys? Chris Tom in Heidelberg, Ontario says, the streak for Caleros, he has to lose sometime. Even The Undertaker lost eventually at WrestleMania. Go Riders. Chris in Heidelberg, Ontario. Last minute of play in hour one. Yeah, John Kirby has written in 13 times today telling us the Seattle Kraken have signed Oilers' Devon Shore to a one-year, two-way contract with a $775,000 average annual value. How could that be AAV when it's 1 year? I saw it, John. It's not like I don't see these things. Jen from the Four Seasons wrote in and said, he won't be missed. But anyways, thanks for playing. As always, we love our dear audience, viewers and listeners. Thank you, Ryan in New York says, enjoy the rest of your Thursday, everybody. And, I think that's it. Be safe, take care of yourself and each other, and we'll see you at noon Eastern here tomorrow on Game Plus and Key Radio.
Who has more fun than us?